Well, I got Jim Hespenheide from Paul's Chrome in the garage with me today, and it's great to see you again, Jim.
Hi, Dennis. How are you?
I'm great, man. Now, usually you bring me all shiny stuff. This time we got some, it's half shiny.
Yes.
But part of the point here is, and this always amazes me, is how you can bring parts back from being incredibly degraded. These parts, I've seen these before at shows and stuff like that. These are sort of your, I don't know. These are the greatest hits. I would say these are some of Paul's Chrome's greatest hits here. But they're great demo pieces about what you can do in turning, I think, what's your expression? Junk into jewelry?
Yes, absolutely. And, it's not just dipping it. People call and say that much just to dip it. Well, there's a lot of labor involved in restoring a piece like this and making it look like this. There's a ton of sanding. The part has to be stripped and sandblasted, and then all of this pitting has to be sanded out. The trouble is you can't sand all of the pitting out because if you have something like this, you'd lose the detail or grind a hole in it. So you sand down what you can. You have to build it up with copper. You sand the copper down. Pits that you can't get rid of that way, you have to individually fill with torches and soldering irons or brazing or TIG welding, and then
really
sand
labor
it
intensive.
Again. Very labor intensive. There's hours and hours and hours on something like this, just cutting those little squares, or rectangles rather, back into the part because we build it up with copper and sand it down, and you don't want to lose detail. So then you have to go in there with a die grinder and clean them all out and then go in for another coat.
Just incredibly tedious. And I guess the other thing, okay, so you got it all sanded down, that's really nice. And a lot of people don't realize, again, it's not you dip it in, do a chrome bath and she comes out chrome. It's a multi-stage process. And I think this piece really
exemplifies that, absolutely. There's a lot of layers of copper and nickel and chrome, and people will call and say,
chrome, right?
Yes, and people will call and say, do you do triple plating? Well, yes, we do triple plating, but we're doing triple plating a bunch of times. Something like this will get triple plated and sanded down and triple plated again. We'll copper it and nickel it and copper it and nickel it until, we have a perfect mirror finish for the final chrome plating.
And you have to have that, because if you don't have that, you're going to end up with a flawed job.
Absolutely.
Well, and it's, this is a very thin piece of metal. These are, this is a pot metal piece, isn't it?
Yes.
So, again, pitted, just, almost, you would think beyond repair.
Yep.
But you can take that and, and turn it into a brand new piece again.
Every dark gray spot that you see on that is corrosion or zinc oxide, and that all has to be removed, which actually ends up making the pits bigger, but you can't plate over top of oxide. It would be like painting over rust. It would just be inconceivable.
Inconceivable. Well, now, these are all, like I say, these are sort of greatest hits. These pieces, these demo pieces, were made a long time ago.
Oh, yes. Some of these, like this piece, we did this 30 years ago and have been taking it to car shows ever since. This piece I worked on myself 20 years ago. When we were doing one half and not the other. So a lot of people recognize these parts from seeing them on our table at the car shows.
Well, and these are all, it is amazing what you can, go from and to. But my favorite demo piece of all times, all-time favorite Paul's Chrome demo piece is that grill shell down there.
Absolutely.
That thing was, there's more air there than there was grill there.
That was a tedious project, trying to make grill bars and weld them in and sand the welds down so that you don't see any of the repair work. Is very, very tedious and labor intensive.
But if that was a grill shell off of a car that they only made 2 or 3 of, you don't have a choice.
Right.
And you guys can do that.
Yep. We've received grills in boxes that we've had to fit back together like jigsaw puzzles before, and then fabricate pieces for the missing areas.
And
that's what we do.
It's like brand new and shiny.
Turning your junk into jewelry, Dennis.
That's right, and that's Paul's Chrome.
Yes, that is.
Well, hey, if you want to learn anything more about the Chrome process or all the great stuff Paul's Chrome does, log on to myclassiccar.com. And you were working on this one when you were in grade school?
Yep, we did this a long time ago.
Family biz.
Yes, sir.
AutoGeek.net. We are car care.